What is up, Glory Gang?
Yo.
I'm Austin.
I'm Darren.
And we are your hosts of the Glory Goys Podcast.
Yeah.
We are filmmakers based out of Omaha, Nebraska, have a video production company that we do full time. And if you're just joining us for the first time, we are so glad that you're here.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in. And today
we are talking about how to stay organized. Let's roll that intro.
Let's go.
Organization. Is it a strong suit or is it not so much?
I would say both.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's fair.
I'm like really organized in some things and really unorganized in others.
I feel like that's kind of everyone. I feel like not everyone's organized in everything. And I even have my weeks or my days where I'm like, yeah, I just don't feel like cleaning my car out. So speaking of car, do you typically have a clean car?
No.
Yeah.
Is the short answer.
It's true. You typically have to clear out a space for me if we take your car to a shoot. You're like, hold on a second. And you got to like kind of dump truck into the...
Yeah, there's like pizza slices on the floor.
Yeah, he's not lying.
Yeah, I don't know why. Because I'm really organized and like pretty OCD about some things.
Yeah.
Like if you look at our Pelican cases, if there's a battery that's not put in the Pelican case the right way,
it's true.
I'll notice and I'll tell you about it. So I'm super organized in some things, but my car and my room too, both are usually a mess.
Yeah. Like
a hurricane, just a tornado flew around my room before you came. So yeah, that's me. What about you?
Yeah. I tend to be cleaner. My mom is like super OCD. So she's like, you set down something and she's like picking it up and wiping it and then moving it to like a coaster. You set your phone down, it gets brought into the kitchen onto a counter. You set your keys down, it's hanging on the hook and you're like, where are my keys? Yeah. So I think I get some of that from her, which is fine.
It's a good trait.
I do like to have my things fairly clean. And my room is one of those things. Well, Mariah isn't necessarily, she likes to be clean, but she definitely lets things go a little bit further than I would like them. And I think I've adapted that. So our room can get to be like, oh, there's a lot of laundry on the floor, but the basket's downstairs because we're doing laundry. But why would I go get the basket to bring it up there when I'm going to need the basket downstairs?
Right.
The solution is buying another basket.
Yeah.
And I think that's just kind of the deal. And I'm just going to probably go on Amazon and get another basket. Why would you do that? Yeah. Because why would make it?
That's way too easy.
And make it a lot easier. But I do like to keep things clean. I typically will make the bed and just keep things, tidied up. I like to go home and feel like it's a place of solitude and rest. And if it's really messy, I can't really rest.
For sure.
So
yeah, you do maintain a very nice home and yard and all that stuff. And I'm not as good as that at that, which is fine.
Dandelion boy.
Yeah. I need to mow really bad. Still.
Weeks later.
Again, it's the weird thing about grass is like you cut it, then you have to cut it again a week later.
Right, it's kind of crazy.
It's the worst. So yeah, we're it's kind of interesting because I almost feel like we're opposites in both work and home. So so like you keep your like car and house really nice and neat, and I don't, but I'm the more organized one when it comes to like our gear and like projects and stuff like that.
Totally.
So,
speaking of that, so obviously there's a lot of organization things that have to happen within a company. With our company, there's a ton, whether it's SD cards, it's batteries, it's gear, it's, where do the Pelicans go in our office, to file storage, to what does that file look like? What does that folder look like? What do our hard drives look like? How do we back up our systems and make sure that we have redundant hard drives so that if something, God forbid, to happen, that we would have those projects safe and be able to recover them. So yeah, there's a lot of places to describe, but maybe just start off like, what are some of the just kind of go-tos that we kind of operate now really mindlessly anymore as the day-to-day operations of Glory Visuals?
Yeah, so before I get into that, here's the deal, guys. organization is one of those things that it takes more work up front, but it is so crucial.
Yeah.
It's so crucial.
How crucial, Austin?
It is potentially the most important thing.
Yeah.
Because we have lost a project before. Not because we were unorganized.
Just one.
It was just because the backup system we were using wasn't really what we thought it was. But organization, especially for somebody like me where it's not like that with my car and home, but if the things in our office, if our equipment, if files, if drives, if computers, all that stuff, if that's out of order, it just puts a ton of stress on everything. And so it makes it, I would say, impossible long-term to run a company, a creative company of any kind without organization.
Yeah.
Because you might be able to do it for a little while and it might be okay, just kind of winging it, keeping stuff all over the place, whatever.
Yeah.
But there's going to come a time where you don't have an SD card in the audio recorder that you need, and that's the only one you brought because the other one's sitting on your desk because you haven't dumped the footage off of it yet. There will come a time where that will come back to bite you. So I can't stress enough how important getting these systems put in place are.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know back in the day when we first started, we really just operated pretty simple. You had your own hard drive, I had my own hard drive, and we just kind of work until they got full and we go buy new ones. Well, we're just way past that as a company, not only for storage for our footage, but now with clients and with just the operations of our business. So how do we keep our clients in order instead of just having 100 messages on Facebook Messenger or Instagram DMs?
Yeah. So when we first started, everything that we did was manual. And for a while, it was okay. And it can work for you for a while. Yeah. But it got to be so time consuming where I remember, I would I had different colored flags for each type of inquiry.
Yeah.
And every day I'm like scrolling through hundreds of emails, making sure like if somebody responded that I didn't miss it or whatever. And it just came to a point where I was missing stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest reason why getting organized is important, is because you'll lose work not being organized.
You will.
Whether that comes from you making a mistake from not being organized or just not responding to someone.
We did all the time. We would see messages that were later from brides saying, hey, we'd love an inquiry, or we'd love to hire you for our wedding on this date. And maybe it was in a couple months, one of those like last second books that we could have grabbed.
Yep.
And we'd totally miss it because months later we'd be like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry. We missed this. And so
Hope you had a good wedding.
So what do we do to manage that now?
Yeah. So we use a program called Dubsado.
Yeah.
And Dubsado has been such an amazing asset to our company. And it kind of, like I said with organization, it takes work and time up front, but it is so worth it in the long run. So Dubsado, when we first got Dubsado, I remember the first few weeks, like I actually felt guilty because I wasn't editing projects. I was just setting up
just building it out. Yeah.
And I know that you didn't have any idea what I was doing. So I was like, I hope he doesn't think I'm just goofing off over here.
I knew what you were doing.
But
you were making my life way better.
So yeah, it took me several weeks of working full time in this product, in this software.
Yeah.
To get some of these things lined up. So where we used to do manual email, we'd kind of keep track of everything, try to like go through it multiple times a week. It was just terrible. Getting Dubsado then allowed us to set up forms on our website. So instead of somebody just emailing us, hey, I'd like a video, now each page of our website has a customized form for that type of work. So if you want a wedding film, you go to gloryvisuals.com/weddings and you fill out a form that we built out in Dubsado that specifically gives the information that we need for a wedding.
Yeah.
So what's your name, number, email, what's your wedding date, and then we have a couple other like fun questions, like tell us something about yourself, to just build rapport with our clients.
Yep.
So they fill out that form. That will automatically create a project in Dubsado, and using workflows in Dubsado, which if you guys ever have questions, I may have to do a whole episode, like a tips and tricks episode on our YouTube, breaking down the workflows that we use in Dubsado and how we use them. But I built what I think is a pretty great workflow, where somebody will they'll fill out the form, it'll create a project, send us an email, hey, a new project has been created, It'll keep track of that in Dubsado. So I'll just go to Dubsado and see new projects that I haven't responded to. That's where they all go because I tell it to go there.
Yep.
So it'll create a new project. Then I can go and say, okay, are we available for this day? Yes, cool. I'll click the next button in the workflow. And from there, it's fully automated. So it sends them an email with our wedding pricing. They can go in there, watch video examples. They can pick what they want on there. It will automatically create an invoice for them, create a contract for them. It'll send them the contract. Once they sign the contract, it'll send them the invoice with the deposit amount on it. Once they pay the deposit, they're fully booked. It will send them an email congratulating them for booking us. 60 days out, they'll get an email with a questionnaire. That's another interactive form that they can fill out. So all of these things over the course of, a year when somebody's booking you, that probably saves me 8 hours of work of looking through emails, of responding, typing out emails, linking stuff. It's all just built out. So that's been a huge asset to our organization.
For any of you business owners or wedding filmmakers, doesn't that just sound relieving to like really set it and forget it? And it's not like this impersonal experience. It's actually very personal. We put a ton of time into articulating the words and the videos that are being shown and the welcoming spirit behind everything that's said and done. So it doesn't feel like they're just, hey, thanks for hiring us. See you at your wedding. It's like so much more in depth. But again, yes, we will have to do a breakdown because I think that would add a ton of value to these guys. And we've inspired other people to use Dubsado also. We very much, obviously we're not sponsored by them, but we very much tell people, hey, this is the way that, it might be some upfront work, but it's totally worth the investment and the time and the money because what it's done for us and free us up has been just amazing.
Yeah, it's incalculable. For you Office fans out there, it's incalculable how much Dubsado has helped us. So so that kind of covers the client management portion. And what I would say, whether it's Dubsado, there's a lot of other ones out there. It's not just Dubsado, but we found that one. It was built specifically for photographers, so it has a lot of things that cater well to our specific industry. But find something that works for you and funnel everyone through it. I think that's been another big key is, especially now, you have leads coming from all over the place. You have people texting you. You have people DMing you on Instagram, Facebook. Email is still very much a thing. People inquiring on your website. So you need to be able to manage all of those. So one thing that we started doing is having Bray every day when she gets into the office, she checks our Facebook, checks our Instagram, make sure there's no outstanding messages relating to that. And the first thing that we do when somebody reaches out outside of our website is we send them to our website. So we don't send them the form externally because that just makes it so much harder to follow up with. So, hey, go to our website, fill out this form. We would love to be in touch with you. And then that will keep it all organized through Dubsado. It's all in that one platform.
It helps me too because I get hit up all the time by family friends or, businesses that we know. And they're like, hey, I would love to, maybe hire you guys. What's your pricing? I have some questions. Hey, man, here's the form. Go fill it out. And it will just be this automated process that they'll get their best results doing that. I don't have to be tied to, I forgot to respond in this text thread or, whatever. It's just, fill this out. Hey, we'd love to work with you. Here, go to this website, go fill this form out and everything will be great. Moving on to what I would think is pretty essential is just our gear. Some of our gear is widely spread. You'll be using something, I'll be using something, Bray will be using something. So how do we keep it all together? When we come together, we make sure everything's in its place, that it's charged, that everything's working properly.
First thing, we have Pelican cases that everything goes in. We use foam in our current Pelicans, which is great. The dividers are great too, but we use foam because we can make it custom for the item that's going in there. So if you look at our Pelican cases, it's very well organized. So we use the lid organizers. Those are awesome.
They're so great.
Even though they don't have high reviews for some reason.
Everyone hates them. And we've been using them for a couple of years now. And they were like $27 and they are so great.
Haven't had any zippers break. They have been awesome. So everything has a spot. I think is the first key to organization.
That's
and
huge.
As controlling as that can sound, and sometimes I'm a little too much with it, where I care maybe a little bit too much. But I think it really does matter because if I can rest easy knowing all of my stuff is always in the spot that I need it to be when I need it.
Yeah.
You can just really avoid headaches. So part of that, I actually recently built out checklists for each one of us so that we can make sure that every single day certain things are getting done. Mm-hmm. So part of that is on Bray's checklist is every morning when she gets there, checking Facebook, checking Instagram, making sure we don't have any outstanding messages that we're missing.
Yep.
After that, her second thing on the checklist is to do a gear check every day, especially if we have a shoot the day before. Mm-hmm. And so it really is a daily thing where part of her responsibilities, and this was really my responsibility before, and I've kind of delegated this to her. But part of her responsibilities is to every morning make sure there's no SD cards laying on the desk. If there are, make sure they're dumped, backed up, returned back to the case, and everything is in its place when the day really starts. That way, if we have something come up or we need to get out for a shoot, we don't have to be dealing with that when that time comes. So making sure everything has a place. Our office is like so full of storage racks because we're sick of just keeping stuff on the floor.
Yeah, we definitely want things to be in order. And again, like the place of solitude with my home being in order, that's the same thing. We spend a lot of time in our office, and our office is awesome and we love it, but it's getting pretty full with a lot of gear, a lot of things. We have a little mini fridge. We kind of call our center desk the mega desk because we put 4 desks together with literally an iMac and a display. So we have an iMac and an Apple display on literally every single desk. So we have 6 big 27-inch screens on everybody's desk, like on all the desks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that creates like a level of like...
And speakers, and you have hard drives.
Yes, we have monitors
everywhere. There's like
hard drives.
10 hard drives on the desk at all times.
And then not only that, but we have tons of tripods and all this other stuff. And the way that we organize that even, like we bought those shelves and created this little organizer nook kind of thing, just to save some space. But we have to be really creative right now within our office because we've outgrown it, but it's the only option right now. So we definitely make it work and we stretch it. But if it feels disorganized, then we're going to feel more stressed out. I remember maybe a week or 2 ago, we had like a cleaning day where we spent like maybe a good 2 hours, hour and a half, like putting things in its home, wiping things down, making sure that everything is put together and throwing stuff out that we don't need, or getting rid of some shipping boxes, or, whatever's just kind of around that's just creating clutter, because clutter just creates stress, I think.
The natural tendency of everything is to move towards disorder always.
Yeah, for sure.
So organization is something that it's only really difficult if you let it go too far.
100%.
If you just consistently stay on top of it, and at least weekly, like reorganize your gear before you leave for the weekend, make sure everything's in the right spot. It will just be way less stressful and ultimately will prevent you from running into major issues, because that's a real thing, that you could have a client that you could lose because you failed to be organized.
100%.
So
with that, having batteries charged, things in their homes, gear where it needs to be, a clean office to really just be able to work in and not stress out. Now we're kind of moving to where do we put all of our footage? We shoot a lot of stuff, hundreds and hundreds of gigs a week, thousands of gigs a month. How do we store those? Why do we use the system that we do? Just go for it. Yeah.
So this is an ever evolving process, and long term, the goal would be to buy something like a Jellyfish or a NAS, where we have one centralized massive storage system that is managed, that we can all 4 run cables into, be able to edit off of simultaneously. The only problem is those are like $11,000. So it's not something that we're ready to move into just yet, but it is the goal. So if you're able to afford that, I would say you can skip this segment, go buy a Jellyfish, and it will solve all of your problems.
100%.
But if you're like us and you can't afford to spend 11 grand right at this very moment on storage solutions, the solution that we've found that has worked really well for us is, so we have, and another kind of part of this is, not only are we managing our company's footage, but we're also shooting church projects every single week, shooting messages. We're doing all of this stuff for church that we have to manage as well.
Yeah.
And we used to put all of it on the same drives. And that was kind of a nightmare, and it just got to be too much. So what we're doing right now at this moment in time is for each like department that would be separated. So for church, we have marketing drives, and then we have platform drives because they kind of serve different purposes. So we have a marketing drive. That's where like anything that we would want to keep goes on. So any marketing that we're doing, sermon series videos, promos, stuff like that goes on the marketing drive, and we have a backup of that. The same goes for our Glory Visuals drive. So we have a GV drive, and then we have a backup of that drive. They're both plugged into Bray's computer. They're labeled. We bought these little cable labels that have been really nice, actually just recently, so that I can label all of the drives, so I don't have to worry about like, oh, which one can I unplug without it like potentially corrupting the drive because it's not ejected. And so that's been a process, getting all of that organized. So what happens after we shoot a project, Bray is now pretty much officially like the footage dumper and manager. And she's been doing a great job of that. But when we first started, I kind of built out like a dummy folder that's on the first level of the drive. In that dummy folder is most of the things that we would typically need to dump for a shoot. So you have audio, footage. Under footage, you have Cam A, Cam B, Cam C, drone, whatever, however many cameras you have. Then you have exports, you have music, media, stills. So if there's photos behind the scenes, I'll dump them into the stills folder. Sound effects, you can put in media or music or whatever. But really breaking that out. So when she goes to create a new folder for a new client, all she has to do is open up that dummy folder, copy all the folders, the folder structure that's already built out, paste it into the new project, and then she can start to dump the footage into those folders. So we have kind of broken out by, our internal content. So things like this podcast, Pokemon, tips and tricks, gear reviews, all of that stuff is under one folder. All of our clients for commercial work are under another folder, and then all of our weddings are under another folder. Then inside that, you have the client, then you have library, and then all of the projects with footage and all of that stuff. So after she dumps it to the main drive, we then use a program called ChronoSync, which has been really great. I think it's like $30 or $40. It might be a little more. I can't remember now. 59 maybe. But it's relatively cheap for what it does, and it's built specifically for data management, for backing up, synchronization. And one mistake that we made initially that we would recommend highly against is don't use the cross synchronization. That's what we tried to do for a while, is like, oh, you edit on this drive, I'll edit on this drive, and then it will merge the two drives together. Well, didn't work out so well. It actually ended up like malfunctioning, and then it deleted like a bunch of our projects. Luckily, we only lost one.
We watched it just start deleting. And we were like, no!
Not even into the recycle bin or into the trash. Just straight gone
forever
into nothingness.
We were like having heart attacks, like watching it just disappear.
Yeah, that was the only time we ever lost footage.
Wow.
And we never did that again. So this is like one of the safer ways to do it. So you dump everything to the main drive, use ChronoSync to back up from this drive to this drive, and it's basically set to overwrite anything on the other drive. So to do that properly, you never should work off of the backup drive. Because if you do, it's going to overwrite that work. So ChronoSync is designed. You have all these different options. You can go down and even tell it what to do with packages, like Final Cut libraries are actually packages. And so you can tell it to actually analyze everything within the Final Cut library and only copy over updates, stuff like that.
So good.
Works really well. So she'll dump all the footage to the main drive, back it up. Every night before she leaves, she'll just click the ChronoSync task, start it. It's super fast. It really just reads through everything and only copies over new stuff. So that's worked really well. And then when we go to edit projects, we take a third drive, bring it over to the workstation that Bray is sitting at, dump the footage from the drive to our edit drive. Then we take that edit drive and go to our workstation and edit it. Then when we're done, another key thing is you have to bring that edit drive back, offload the library, your exports, music, anything that you didn't have in there to start with, so that that's on there. Then you back it up again and you're good to go. One additional step that a lot of people will do is they'll then set the backup drive to upload to some sort of cloud storage, We don't really do that right now, but probably should be. The main reason you would want to do that is if there were ever something that happened to the physical location, then you would have a copy of that stored in a location that can't be burned down or looted or something like that. So that's something that a lot of people recommend that we will eventually do. But for now, this system works. We have 2 copies of everything, 3 copies of what we're working on, and we've had really good luck with that so far.
That's a lot of like information and a lot of nerdy stuff. And if you have any further questions, obviously feel free to reach out or comment below if you're on YouTube. But yeah, we are really passionate about staying organized with all of our footage because it's important. It's what pays our bills, you know, and we do back up everything, and it does get kind of expensive buying new hard drives and filling them up, and then we slap a piece of tape on it, write what it is, and put it in a drawer and shut it and forget about it for a while. But what if, you know, that client was like, hey, that project we did 3 years ago, you know, we would love to kind of reimagine that and use some of this footage. Or, you know, what if a bride hit us up and, hey, we would really love this this shot of dad for his funeral. You know, that's a real thing. That stuff happens.
Yeah.
So because of that, and because of the really amazing systems that Austin, you've really created to put in place, it gives us the confidence with our clients that, hey, we don't say that we keep everything forever because we don't really want the client to rely on us to be their storage keepers.
Yeah. We don't want to be legally responsible for that.
But we always want the option of, hey, can we bless our client by, you know, being able to provide this? Probably because we have it backed up. And so, yeah, right as of right now, until we get some sort of RAID system or NAS system or Jellyfish, yeah, I think the system that we have works really, really well. It's not super ideal, but we really like it. And if you have more questions about it, definitely ask, because it's a pretty inexpensive way to do it, I guess.
For sure. Yeah, I would say the one drawback to doing it like that, again, is just it's a little bit more time consuming.
Yeah, it is.
But again, just take it from us. If you haven't lost a project yet, it is the worst thing that could possibly happen to you.
Yeah.
And it could be a lot worse than what we went through.
Oh, yeah.
Luckily, our client was cool with it. It wasn't the end of the world.
It was just an interview.
But it could be the end of the world.
It could be 100%.
So
the end of your company's existence. So
unfortunately, that's a thing.
Yep.
So yeah, be super diligent in that. And like Darren said, if you have questions on any of this stuff, I'm an open book. We're an open book. We're not. This podcast is literally for us to share what we've learned over the last 3 years. So we're not like holding back any information. If you want, I will literally send you exactly our Dubsado workflow and you can copy it. I don't care.
Yeah, for a small price of $799, we'll send you a zip file
Buy
over
our
email.
Dubsado course.
No, you can just have it.
Exactly. So yeah, footage is managed. Then from there, payment.
Yeah, so another really great thing to have organized is your finances.
Yep.
And so with your company, you're going to have invoices coming in. You're going to have checks coming in through the mail, deposits from brides. You're going to have, random stuff, Venmo requests or Venmo invoices and just different things. People pay different. It's a different world. Some people pay over Facebook now. It's like really interesting.
Yeah.
But it's really, really important to keep all that in order, because it's sad but true that the government cares about what you're making and how you're reporting that. And so legally, we want to be very, very organized.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple things that we use to help with that, that we didn't use at first, and it kind of came back to bite us, but get QuickBooks or Xero, or, you know, there's other options other than QuickBooks out there now. But the combination that we use of QuickBooks and Dubsado is intentional, because when we started looking into these systems, Dubsado was really the only one that was integrated with QuickBooks.
Yeah.
So what's really nice is we do all our bookkeeping through QuickBooks, because Dubsado does not have full-fledged accounting built into it. So you really need QuickBooks to be able to, if you have an accountant, they'll love you for it because it has all of the proper reports and stuff like that. So get a proper accounting software And that's part of my daily responsibilities. That's on my daily checklist is every morning when I get there, I check Dubsado, make sure I'm responding to everything. All projects are where they need to be. Secondly, I check QuickBooks. I go in and classify all of our transactions, whether it's checks or whatever. But Dubsado does all of the invoicing for you. So it'll send out the invoice, or you can send it out manually. You can put in your tax code for where you live. All of that stuff, you can send it out. They can pay online, and then that will actually create that invoice and sync with QuickBooks, which is really nice. So then when I'm going to classify that payment or that check, I can match it to the Dubsado invoice entry. So that just keeps everything super organized. Make sure that, you know, if somebody reaches out and they're like, hey, I thought I paid you, but you just sent me an invoice, you can go back and say, no, okay, you haven't, or, oh, actually you did pay us, or whatever. So just really important to keep track of that. And then obviously you can use all of that information for projections, for financial planning, all of that stuff. So QuickBooks is really great. QuickBooks Online is what we use. QuickBooks Desktop is for dinosaurs. But QuickBooks Online has been great and working with Dubsado really nicely. So if you have any questions on how we have that set up, how to get it to integrate, there's a little bit, it was quite a learning curve for me as I started to understand how they integrate. There's some bugs with it. So again, if you have any questions on that, please let us know. We would be happy to share anything that we know on.
And I think that's an opportunity to also do tips and tricks, just kind of in the future, just working on Dubsado workflows and how it integrates with QuickBooks and why I think could add a lot of value to people. For sure.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, the last thing I would say to keep organized is your calendar. Make sure that you have a calendar that you use diligently. Another nice thing about Dubsado is it integrates with your calendar.
Yeah, it's great.
So you can actually send out links where people can schedule an appointment with you. It'll integrate with your calendar. So if you have something booked, it won't let people book appointments for you during those times.
Right.
So that's really nice. You can specify your business hours, all of that stuff. So using Dubsado, we use Google Calendars for managing when we have shoots and appointments and meetings and all of that stuff. And so one little tip is we use Google Chrome. If you're on a multi-person team, we just started using Google Chrome, and I think it's been really great because you can log in with the business Google account, and then you can sync it across all of the different devices. So all your bookmarks and passwords and all of that stuff are saved if you have employees and stuff like that. So that's been helpful too in keeping our calendar organized. So now that the client's paid, or sometimes before the client's paid, a lot of times we'll send the video out as a preview.
Like a V1.
Then once they pay, we'll kind of release it for download. How do we do that?
So depending on the project, typically we will export our videos to our drives, and then we'll upload immediately to Vimeo. Vimeo is an amazing platform. We love it so much. I mean, it's just, the UI is great. The quality, it doesn't compress our videos. And so we will upload straight to there. And honestly, almost immediately following the upload, we'll make sure we select a proper thumbnail, name it properly, and just give it all the details and make it look nice. And then we'll just send a preview link over to our client and just, hey, like the video's done. This was so much fun. Let us know if there's any revisions that you have. And then we usually give them a day to watch it, to review it. And then if they like it, we'll go back into Vimeo and actually turn on the download option, and they can just download it straight from Vimeo. It's worked really well for us, and we haven't had really any issues. And so why fix what's not broken? Because we've really enjoyed Vimeo, and our clients seem to like it as well. So
yeah, it's been great. The ability to let people preview but not download is great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Because sometimes you want to collect payment, especially if it's the first time working with somebody. We'll try to collect payment before they have access to the video, because if they can just take the video and dip, that's not what you want.
Right.
Because you want them to pay you for the video that you did. So.
Which thankfully we haven't had any really issues with that. And then on Vimeo, you can stay super organized. So you can actually have folders for weddings, folders for music videos, folders, and you can actually upload and move them into folders. So you're not just uploading a bunch of videos and it gets super overwhelming, but you can actually organize directly on Vimeo to kind of keep track. And it's a cool portfolio piece. I mean, your Vimeo now can be pretty customized. We have a Vimeo Pro account, so we pay the $60 a year or whatever it is for the extra storage, because you only can upload, I think, 20 gigs a day or 5 gigs a day.
I think it's 5 gigs a week.
5 gigs a week
for the like baseline plan.
Okay, so we have the baseline plan. Maybe we don't have Vimeo Pro.
For church we do. Because we had to get it because we were trying to upload like a 7 gig video. So
right. That's right.
Vimeo Pro is like 5 terabytes total.
Oh, got it.
But we get 7 gigs a week, I think.
Got it. Yeah, so either way, find a plan that works for you. Either way, it's worth it.
Yeah.
But you can customize your page. You can have a little header video. We have our reel, like our 2020 commercial reel or whatever on there, and we've updated it. And then all your work just sits there and pick cool thumbnails for them. And you can even send that link out to people. We've done that before. We're like, hey, you want to see some of our work? Here's our Vimeo link, and just drop it. And it just looks nice. And you can hide certain projects on there if you don't want clients to see them. You can send them privately, a private link to clients. So, hey, we did this interview. We don't really want it to show up on our Vimeo page, but we do want to upload it. You can do that, set it to private, send them the link. They can still watch it. They can still download it, but it won't be on your profile page. So it's a really, really great system.
Yeah. A couple other nice things about Vimeo are you can embed videos in your website, emails, stuff like that. You can also create showcases that look really great that you can add videos to a showcase of certain types of work or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's what we use for our website. We embed our commercial showcase.
Yep.
And then when we're uploading videos to that commercial showcase on Vimeo, it just refreshes on our website.
Yeah.
So it's just one less thing to have to go update.
Yep.
Because that's one thing about building a portfolio is like, if you have to post to all 10 platforms every time you put something out, like that's full-time job. So
totally.
That's one nice thing about Vimeo. And the other really nice thing about Vimeo specifically that I think is better than other platforms is Vimeo is currently, I believe, the only platform that you can publish videos to social natively from.
Yeah, it is.
So Facebook, if you don't know this, Facebook just really prefers natively uploaded videos. Because they'll autoplay, they're meant for the platform. So posting a YouTube link on Facebook isn't the most effective typically because people won't click into it to go redirect to Facebook to YouTube. So Vimeo, you can actually just upload all your videos there and you can publish natively to Facebook where it will autoplay. So that's huge win for Vimeo. And that's what we use for the majority of our delivery. If we're delivering a finalized video project or something that's edited, we'll use Vimeo. If we're delivering raw footage, we'll typically use Dropbox. But that's really the only time that we use Dropbox is if we're delivering a lot of footage or multiple folders or whatever. But if we're just delivering a video project or a set of videos to a client, we'll use Vimeo every time.
Well, guys, you have a lot of work to do to get organized. And it only took us like 3.5 years to get here.
And we're still getting
and
there.
We're still getting more organized.
Yep.
But I mean, it's just allowed us to be more free and open and just not be so bogged down on the task, but actually work on our business and be able to like think of ideas and think of things rather than, oh, did this get posted? Oh, did this get uploaded? Oh, did this get dumped? Oh, did this get charged? It's like, oh, we had those systems. Now it's mindless and it just happens. And I think that's really, really great. And it's super healthy. And it's going to allow us to become even more successful because we're not so bogged down by these random things that we're forgetting about.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, it helps us serve our clients better too.
Totally.
Which will lead to more clients, more business, and it will help your business grow as well.
Absolutely.
So hopefully you got something from this. I know this has been probably one of the more informational episodes that we've done, but just wanted to run you through how we stay organized as a company. So hope you learned something. If there's something that you know that we don't, we want to hear it.
We want to know.
We want to keep getting better in this area. But if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a rating if you're enjoying the podcast. 5 stars are always appreciated, but be honest, only if you feel we deserve it. But we love reading those ratings. It means the world to us that you are here listening right now. And if you're watching on YouTube, it would mean a ton to us if you would subscribe to our channel, hit the bell to be notified every Wednesday and Friday, and then you won't miss out on bonus videos that we drop sometimes either.
Heck yeah, bonus, dude.
Yeah, so hit the bell, leave a comment on your favorite way to stay organized, and thank you so much again for tuning in. We love you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next episode.
See you guys.